Hi everybody and welcome back to the Celtic Way YouTube channel. This is the second time that I'm recording this because I did a whole 13-minute video talking about Celtic versus Rangers and then realised that my microphone wasn't on. So I'm going to do it all over again, so I should be doubly as aware of all the stats that went on in the recent Glasgow Derby win for Celtic. Of course, it was Celtic 3, Rangers nothing, as I am recording this on Tuesday evening. It's a couple of days after the event happened. Goals from Daizen Maeda, Kyogo Furuhashi, and then in the second half, Callum McGregor's strike from outside the box made it 3-0 to Celtic over their greatest rivals. Before we get into talking about today's or Sunday's game, rather, if you'd like to support our work just that little bit more by joining our YouTube members channel, for just £2.99 a month, you'll receive early video access, priority comments, and exclusive members chat function. Thank you to everybody that's joined us thus far on the YouTube members. And if you haven't done so already, please do so, and we will appreciate it. We would appreciate it very, very much if you do so. Let's get into the game, shall we? And let's talk about some of those stats. As it says at the top, 3-0 Celtic against Rangers. The XG for Celtic was 2.18. Over Rangers is 1.31. It meant that Celtic overachieved by taking on more difficult shots and hitting the target with said difficult shots. The cumulative XG, which takes into account post-shot expected goals, was 2.04 for Celtic, whereas for Rangers it was at 1.28. So Rangers can feel pretty hard done by that they never got a goal in the game, but I guess that's the difference in strikers between Kyogo and Dessers and the like. Celtic had 14 shots to Rangers' 12. Celtic had 4 shots on target to Rangers' 3. 53% possession for Celtic to Rangers' 47%, which is the lowest for Celtic this season. They've been dominating every other game, but it was a bit closer in the possession stats. The pass completion, Rangers had more than 83% to Celtic's 82. Total passes, Celtic had more than 576. They had 473 completed passes to Rangers' 426. Total pressures, as to be expected, Celtic had more of the ball, so they pressured less at 145 to Rangers' 212, but they regained the ball over off the back of a press at a rate of 33 to Rangers' 31. 32 tackles were 1 out of 40 for Celtic, whereas it was 15 and 24 for Rangers. 4 yellow cards for Celtic to Rangers' 5, and all 22 men stayed on the pitch. Let's get in and talk about some of the key players from the game. And the first person I want to mention, I mentioned a bit in the first recording, but I'm going to mention him just as much in the second here. Alistair Johnston, top 5 key passers. He is on top alongside Nicholas Kuhn on the right-hand side, both playing there, right wing and right back respectively. 3 key passes, an XG of 0.84 for those combined 3 passes, and Nicholas Kuhn had 0.28. Daizen Maeda had 2, despite playing on the left wing and being more of an athletic player than a creative player. He still had 2 key passes at an XG of 0.33. Paulo Bernardo had 2 at an XG of 0.20, who had another standout game for Celtic. Really is coming to the fore as a fully fledged Celtic player since joining on a permanent deal from Benfica in the summer. Rio Hatate, who I thought had a poorer game on Sunday, had 0.28 XG for his 1 key pass. Let's talk about the shooting for a second. Daizen Maeda had 4 shots, 1 on target at 4 shots, 1 being the goal at 0.99 combined XG for the 4. Kyogo had 3 shots, 1 of them found its way into the back of the net, like Maeda, at 0.36, although that was outside the box. He really did take that opportunity well up against Jack Butland. More on that in a second. James Forrest, despite being a substitute, he had 2 shots at an XG of 0.10. Rio Hatate had 2 shots as well at 0.24, including a chance that he really should have put in the back of the net after good play. Daizen Maeda, I think, forced a save out of Butland a couple of seconds before that. And Callum McGregor had 1 shot, 1 being on target, and that was his deflected long-range effort off of the boot of Dujon Sterling into the back of Rangers' net. Let me take you through some of the other key graphics, one being the passing network, which looks at on-ball value. As you can see, 2 players are really standing out here, both on the right-hand side, in Cameron Carter-Vickers, who had a more orangey colour, a reminder that the warmer the colour, the better the on-ball value, and the bigger the circle, the more passes they complete. Alistair Johnston was a standout player once again in this metric. It was a real standout performance from the right back, who displayed aggressiveness as well as good on-ball work, and he is really coming to the fore as a Celtic player, especially under Brendan Rodgers. As I did mention in the previous recording, he was a player that went away to the Copa America with Canada, got to the semi-finals. He took a while to get back into the swing of things due to probably being tired, but at the same time, the past 2 or 3 games, he's been utterly sensational for Celtic. Maybe an early shout for Player of the Year. In terms of other players that did okay in this metric, Daizen Maeda, but apart from that, a lot of colder colourings, which suggests not so good on the ball. I seem to remember when I was doing the StatsBomb report, which is available on the website now, that Rio Hatate did have a poor game in this metric. The same goes for Greg Taylor, Callum McGregor, and Paulo Bernardo, etc. But that's only one side of it. They had good games using the eye test, and I always stress that it's good to use it 50-50 in terms of statistics and eye test. So even though players maybe didn't do as well on the ball using OBV, it still doesn't mean to say that they didn't have a good game. There was quite a few people that did have a good game, such as McGregor, Bernardo, Kyogo, etc., and they just didn't come across well in this metric. So stats aren't everything. I would maybe caveat this video by saying it only works for about 50% of the game. Looking at the formation that Celtic played with, I thought this was quite interesting. The fact that StatsBomb says that they had a 4-2-3-1 instead of their usual 4-3-3. It was Kasper Schmeichel in goals, a back four of Greg Taylor, Liam Scales, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Alistair Johnston left to right. In the midfield, Callum McGregor played at the base alongside Paulo Bernardo, and Rio Hatate played in that attacking midfield role in place of the departed Matt O'Reilly, who has left to join Brighton in the past week or so. Daizen Maeda on the left wing, Nicholas Kuhn on the right wing, and Kyogo Furuhashi up front. Let me just go through some more. Looking at the shot map, Celtic did try and work the ball into good areas in the box, but as you can see, those two blue outlines just outside the box, those were the 2 goals from Callum McGregor and Kyogo respectively. As you can see there, just on the left-hand side next to the diamond, that is Daizen Maeda's goal, which was a high XG shot shown by the warm colourings next to his shape. And that Paulo Bernardo chance just before half-time is signified by the diamond, one in which he beat 2 players and then tamely shot the ball into Jack Butland's hand, which was saved by the England international. If we just go through the goals that were scored in the game, Daizen Maeda's XG for his goal was 0.41, which led to 0.91 once the ball left his boot, which shows how good a connection he got on the ball. It gave Jack Butland very little chance of keeping it out. He did manage to get a hand on it, but it wasn't enough to keep the ball from going out of his own net. It was a good goal from Daizen Maeda, not his first in this fixture. It was a real showing of all of his qualities. You've got the cons with Maeda. Technically, he's not the greatest, but my goodness, he runs and runs and runs. I think that's the only way to describe him. Tavernier. He torments Tavernier. There is an article coming out in the next couple of days detailing that a little bit more closely. If we go to the second goal of the game, which was scored by Kyogo Furuhashi, again, I think Jack Butland could have potentially done better with this goal. He received the ball following an interception from Connor Barron by Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor passes it to Kyogo, gets the ball out of his feet and side foots it home from 25 to 30 yards out, which was a great finish by the Japanese striker. Not his first goal in this fixture. Don't think it'll be his last either. That had an XG of 0.04 and it rose in post shot expected goals to 0.26. So that does show that it was a difficult chance, but he took it expertly, he took it early, and yeah, it went in the back of Jack Butland's net, and what was a day to forget, really, for the England goalkeeper. If we just go to Callum McGregor's goal, this goal was touched on. It was deflected off of Dujon Sterling and into the back of Jack Butland's net. It was good play in order to get the ball to Callum McGregor, who got it out of his feet after a couple of touches and put it into Jack Butland in one of the corners of his goal. That was an XG of 0.03, which rose to 0.32 due to the goalkeeper's position, Dujon Sterling's touch on the ball, and the overall quality of the strike. It just goes to show you how well he took it. That's 3 goals from outside the box in 3 league games for Callum McGregor. Long may that continue if he is a goal scorer. Certainly, I don't think anybody will be complaining about the fact that he is scoring more goals and the midfield is scoring goals as a result of that, which is absolutely brilliant to see. Just looking at the pressure locations, there's a lot of movement for Celtic off the ball and trying to make things happen. As I said, there wasn't as many pressures as Rangers, but they did regain the ball more than Rangers off the back of pressures, which shows that their pressing was significant and successful when it did come to fruition. And it did come to fruition quite a few times for Celtic, particularly from players like Daizen Maeda, Nicholas Kuhn, Paulo Bernardo, and Callum McGregor. All of those were standouts in that metric. Just looking at the pressure frequency heat map, you can see where Celtic are really turning on the style and turning on their defensive work on the left and right wing, as well as left and right fullback areas, as well as in that midfield, that right-hand side and the left-hand side too. Everybody is chipping in. It's a team effort from Celtic to make things happen, and they got their just rewards in this fixture, thanks to their pressing off the ball. Didn't allow Rangers any time on the ball whatsoever after the first 10 minutes, although for the first 10 minutes it was Rangers that were really dictating the tempo on the press. Once Celtic got that disallowed goal, which came from a Nicholas Kuhn assist to Kyogo, which was a great finish, a great well-worked goal that was just marginally offside. There's still calls as to whether that was actually offside or not, but you've got to go with the referee on that one. Nicholas Kuhn's play was really good. It was a good play, and he showed his skills both on the ball and off it in pressing, as well as players like Hatate, Callum McGregor, Paulo Bernardo, Daizen Maeda, etc. And then the final slide is the race chart, which shows for the first 5-10 minutes of the game, it was pretty even. Rangers actually went ahead in the race chart before Celtic overtook them at 1-0 through Daizen Maeda. They would then be pretty similar until the second goal, and then Celtic would really pull away from Rangers in that regard. And then 3-0 took that to 2.04 and combined XG for all of their chances, whereas Rangers had 1.28. So they'll feel a bit aggrieved that they didn't get a goal in the game. But at the end of the day, I think that's Rangers' problem and not Celtic. As you can see in the top left-hand side, the home side, which is Celtic, were given a 58% chance of winning the tie. The draw was the next most likely outcome at 24%, and Rangers were only given an 18% chance of winning this tie. So they did have chances. They had chances to get back in the game, even chances before the first goal came about that they could have maybe taken the lead, but they did that didn't come to fruition whatsoever for the away side, and that made sure that Celtic went 5 points clear of their rivals and joint top alongside Jimmy Tillan's Aberdeen, who are riding high. Joint top as at the top of the table, as I said. Thank you to everybody for joining me on today's video. A just quick reminder that if you want to support our work, look at the bottom of the screen. By joining our YouTube members channel for just £2.99 per month, you'll receive early video access, priority comments, and exclusive members chat function. We'll be back after the Hearts game to discuss all things tactics on the Celtic way. Keep an eye out for more videos coming over the next couple of days on the international break. We hope you enjoy your international break, a little bit of time without Celtic before coming back, and where the real business begins in the Champions League and the Scottish Premiership and League Cup respectively. It's going to be a very, very busy time. Plenty of videos to go with and enjoy on the channel. There are plenty in the pipeline for you to look forward to. Thank you very much to everyone for joining us. Please join if you haven't already on the YouTube members channel, and we will see you after the Hearts game for your next installment of a tactical breakdown. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening.